Hey everyone, welcome back. Are you the Michael Jordan of virtual and augmented reality sports? Esports are sports. Extended reality, an all-encompassing term that describes virtual reality and augmented reality, as well as any hybridization between the two. That allows for a new style of sport, which is somewhere in between traditional and classical sports and the esports of today. And it's something that could change the paradigm. New experiences might come about that reimagine the way we compete and the way we move in space, because we're not limited to gravity's 9.8 meters per second squared or to the muscles that we were born with. The game itself is going to define the reality in which you compete, and the possibilities there are limitless. Today I'm just going to go through some of the current XR sport and multiplayer experiences that are out there and speculate on what makes a great XR competitor and what we might see in the future. Let's start with sports games. VR basketball is something that a lot of people speculate could take off this year. Some titles of note there that are already out or are coming soon are Gym Class. Gym Class is a free game currently available using Quest App Lab. I'll include the link in the description for that game, as well as links to the descriptions or links in the descriptions for the rest of the games that I mentioned today. This allows for private rooms as well as public rooms for VR basketball. Another basketball title for virtual reality is Pickup Basketball VR, which is already available on Steam VR and for Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and Valve Index as a result. And they're expected to release on Oculus Quest and Quest 2 sometime around summer 2021. Another one, or the final one I'm going to mention regarding VR basketball right now, is the Streetball League. And that's expected to launch this summer for alpha access. I'll update everyone on the channel when that comes out with my first gameplay and impressions. That game looks pretty cool. If you're into street ball and that aesthetic, that's maybe the game for you. Another popular type of game for multiplayer is, an FPS game, shooting games in general. Two great ones that are out right now are Hyperdash and Contractors. Hyperdash is a sci-fi robot-themed multiplayer team shooter with traditional FPS game types like Deathmatch, Payload, and Control Point. The title's available on Oculus, Steam, and Viveport. Contractors is a COD-style game with freedom of movement that allows for things like jumping, sprinting, and sliding for those who can handle that type of visual input without getting nauseous. That's available for Quest and Quest 2 right now. The next type I would say is melee games, and that's sort of sword fighting, fantasy style games, or medieval or any type of sword fighting or melee game. It doesn't have to necessarily be a sword. There are all sorts of melee weapons. And some popular games there are Iron Lights, Swords of Gra, and Zenith: The Last City. Iron Lights that's a melee game that uses a clever turn-based mechanic with time-based stamina pools that allow you to defend and attack. That's the type of game where you're gonna have to use your mind, quick thinking, and your hand-eye coordination in order to dominate. Swords of Gra is a unique online arena-based multiplayer sword fight experience, and that provides anywhere between 1v1 and 10v10 experiences. And that's a game that actually has multiplayer tournaments that provide cash prizes, and they do those twice a month. Another game, one that I'm really excited about, is Zenith: The Last City. That's an upcoming virtual reality MMO, which will be available on Steam VR, Oculus Quest, and PlayStation VR. This JRPG-inspired MMO will have spellcasting and melee and ranged combat multiplayer with different build types. I'm really excited about this, and I look forward to participating in the alpha testing, which actually begins May 3rd. I'm going to be sure to update you guys with my gameplay and my first take as soon as I play that, because that's a game I expect I'm going to play a lot of. It's something that I've really been looking forward to, and something that I will be sharing a lot more about on this channel. Along with those classic types of experiences in esports. There are also all sorts of other experiences like pilot games, racing games, puzzle games, and many different additional ones. Sky's the limit, really. These games are going to be a heck of a workout for you, as well as immersive experiences into new imaginative realities. So those are kind of what exists today, what's coming soon that I'm excited about. There's all sorts of stuff out there, but those are some really popular ones. If there are other ones that I missed that you think are really popular or that you want to hear more about or you'd like to see talked about more, feel free to leave a comment below. So as far as XR sports are concerned, and the way they differ from esports and the way they differ from traditional classical, concrete or grass or sand-based sports, are that they use different mechanics. And the competitive aspects may be different compared to other types of sports. So what are the competitive aspects of XR sports, and how might they change as they evolve? I suppose we'll see, but some existing competitive aspects, I think, that are unique to the sport include things that require constitution. And when I say that, I mean tolerance to virtual motion and the way that can, for some, cause motion sickness. And, your tolerance level to that may be a huge advantage in some of these games. Take Contractors, for example, when they have things like sprinting and jumping and sliding, your ability to not be phased or your ability to not become nauseous as a result of that type of movement could be a distinct advantage in a game like that. When you have these jarring movement experiences, that's something you don't really get in traditional console and PC esports, and it's something you don't really get in the real world, aside from maybe things like possibly skateboarding and, for the more expensive sports, maybe NASCAR or, piloting in general, pilot tricking and things like that. We might find that Constitution is a defining feature in XR games. Constitution as a necessary prerequisite to be an elite competitor might, be eventually seen as a defining XR sport characteristic, since it is so unique to the space, to extended reality, and specifically virtual reality, as a result of the way these games work and the way your eyes perceive this extension of reality. Other things that are important for to be a great XR athlete, I think, are going to be things that are fairly traditional to other sports, including esports. And that's things like hand-eye coordination, reaction time, and stamina. With traditional sports especially, stamina is very important. And with a lot of XR experiences, it may require a lot of standing, crouching, turning, and possibly turning quickly, as well as fast arm movement and precise arm movement, and extended time arm positioning. Another interesting aspect of XR sports, and what has always been a bit of a question mark in the esports space, and that's glitches. The question of glitches comes to mind all the time when you think about esports. In fact, in esports record books, they have distinct categories for speedruns that utilize glitches versus speedruns that don't. And a question that comes to mind is, whether or not it should be fair for an XR multiplayer competitor to utilize and take advantage of glitches, or if it should be considered foul play. I think the crowds are going to decide that, and it may come eventually to be seen similar to esports, where a record may be with a glitch and another record may be without a glitch. You don't run into that issue, obviously, with classical grass and concrete sports. If Nick Bostrom and those who agree with him are right, and we do live in a simulation, and this actually is a virtual reality, then it seems it's pretty well tested, as we have a lot of difficulty finding physics glitches, unless you're Luka Doncic or someone like that. But glitches aren't generally a problem. So those are some of the things that I think are really big parts of XR multiplayer experiences and XR competition. And as VR and XR sports evolve, great competitors are going to emerge, and we're going to be introduced to champions of all sorts of competition. I'm excited to be a part of these nascent technologies and experiences, and I hope you are too. Where do you think VR and AR sports are headed? Are there already champions in the making that you know of? If you have a favorite XR sports competitor, let me know down below. If you liked this content, I'd appreciate the thumbs up. And if you haven't already subscribed, I'd appreciate that as well. If you're interested in hearing more about this stuff or any of the other things that I cover on this channel. Other than that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.